Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. It's time to wake up. Let's have some fun today. All right. How's everyone doing? Can I get a good? Yes? Happy? Okay, great. That's enough. Who am I? My name is Amos Thomas. I'm a son of Yahweh at the House of Refuge. I'm married to a beautiful wife named Yvonne over there. You may know that guy or you may not know him. You don't have to know him. If you don't know him, forget about it. I'm an IT specialist and webmaster for 6 years at a government institution at the Massachusetts state. I'm a Web3 educator for 3 years, primarily focusing on the DKG, my decentralized knowledge graph. And I'm aspiring full stack developer of 1 year. This has a lot of history behind it, my Zero to Hero course. I made it a mission to be able to educate people and show them that you can build as well and be as great as Branimir himself. So let's talk Trackverse. What is the goal, all right? The DKG captures knowledge, which is an essential pillar of wisdom. We see BSI, GS1 using knowledge and transforming knowledge into wisdom to make better business decisions. Trackverse is focused on capturing stories, which is a core pillar of entertainment. It is important to understand throughout this presentation that knowledge does not necessarily equal stories, even though stories comprise of knowledge and can communicate knowledge. In the DKW model, knowledge is considered actionable wisdom, or wisdom is considered actionable knowledge. So, stories are a valuable extension of the DKW model, data, information, knowledge, and wisdom model that should be captured on the decentralized knowledge graph and verifiably interconnected with the outcomes of its influence to be harnessed by all. The outcome of such a perspective is an Omniverse by default. So let's talk Omniverse. But before that, we got to talk Metaverse and multiverses, right? So what is a Metaverse? The term Metaverse was claimed by Neil Stephenson in 1992 in his book, Snow Crash. It was used to describe a single virtual world or digital space. A metaverse usually extends as far as its economy or ecosystem. When you think of Decentraland, Crypto Voxels, the Sandbox, they extend as far as the blockchain network they're on or their token economy. What is a multiverse? A multiverse is typically described as multiple virtual spaces and economies shared among participants, including parallel universes, multiple metaverses, digital realities. In my humble and very humble opinion, most blockchain networks kind of feel like mini multiverses, housing many metaverses. So now that you have a general understanding of what a metaverse is and what a multiverse is, let's talk more about the Omniverse from the context of stories. So what is the Omniverse? The Omniverse is all virtual physical spaces and economies within a single domain. Of course, we're focused on stories today. It is a web of interconnected, parallel, physical, digital realities and all timelines. The past, future, and present are actually all now within the Omniverse. Web3 currently contains no Omniverse, and that is from a protocol level or narrative level. And the understanding for why this doesn't exist is quite easy. Well, an Omniverse needs two key factors that Web3 has yet to truly solve: interoperability and a universally anchoring narrative that supports it. So who has an Omniverse? Well, Marvel has one, DC has one, NVIDIA has one. Where's the problem here? Has anyone noticed the problem? It starts with Omni. Yet we have three. Omni means one. Why do we have all of these Omniverses? Granted, NVIDIA's Omniverse is understandably not focused around storylines, but the two above are. That's a problem we need to solve. Marvel and DC Omniverses. Let's take a deeper look inside. Well, first of all, we have no real-time visibility into the connections within their narrative network. Where is Superman right now? Okay, don't worry, I'll wait. Story arcs are generally controlled by DC and Marvel. Open community contributions are generally not interconnected, although they are respected and acknowledged, not interconnected, generally. Artworks and storylines are limited to the potential of hired artists and specialized community members. Of course, in the past, you had to be great at what you do to work for these organizations. It's hard to maintain the discoverability of stories as well as continuity of all works within their individual omniverses. If you do some research online, you will quickly discover the drama between us comic nerds and this issue. So what is the Marifa Omniverse in comparison? And to be clear, Marifa is the name of the Omniverse that Trackverse is trying to create. One quick Google search of the word Marifa should let you know what we're trying to achieve here. AKA, Marifa means knowledge. So Marifa has real-time visibility into connections within our narrative network. Marifa storylines are not controlled by Trackverse. Open community contributions can be interconnected at will. Connecting and sharing assets is highly encouraged in the DKG because it adds value to your assets. Artworks and storylines are uncapped by combining the power of AI with human authorship and creativity. You no longer need a staff of 50 well-trained artists. Over the years, you can have an open community of well-trained artists utilizing AI art to recreate the beauty that is Marvel and DC. But this time, it's Marifa. It's easier to maintain the discoverability of stories and continuity of works within the Marifa Omniverse thanks to the DKG. Now, a true global omniverse needs interoperability, it needs verifiability, and most importantly, it needs discoverability. The Marifa Omniverse places all of humanity's laws into a global, open source, standard agnostic index. And as you can see, we're connected to all these different blockchain networks. So as I said earlier, if we do consider a blockchain network a multiverse, this indeed is what an omniverse would look like. So what is lore embedding? Now, I do believe I made the right choice here, because it was either between lore embedding or lore insemination. Every and anything can have a story. NFT collections, businesses, people, thing, the Mona Lisa, think about it. The stories are the why behind our lives and entertainment. The DKG allows for Mark Grunwald's omniversal method to take true form. If you do not know who Mark Grunwald is, then you may not be a comic nerd like me, but he is responsible for the concept of the omniverse itself in comics today. The reason why we see crossovers between these different realities and between DC and these different comics is because of his initial work. So over to the right, what we see here is a small snippet of the Marifa Omniverse on the Origin Trail decentralized knowledge graph. Following the teachings of omniversal lore embedding, or lore embedding, we've decided to create planets on the decentralized knowledge graph. Places, races, and items and characters. Now, over to the right, what we see here is a kuvuka. This is you and me about 1,000 years from now. They have a special device in their chest, which is in the background, called a kuvuka O-Link. It is a futuristic device that these human beings use to connect and communicate with the device called the Omnicore. Well, what is this Omnicore? The Omnicore is actually the futuristic version of the DKG. You may be getting a pattern here. Yes, our Omniverse is built directly to teach you what the Origin Trail is. What is the decentralized knowledge graph? AKA learning through entertaining and interacting. This is the Omnicore in the future. As to why it looks like that, as to why the DKG looks like that, Brandon, why did you make this? You're just going to have to go to trackverse.com and read the story to find out. So this is a character, Android Zalax. This guy is quite mean, but for a good reason. Well, not really good. But as you can see, he has various connections to his artwork. Over to the right, you can see the planet he's connected to. You can see his name. You can see an unrevealed trait about him. You can also see his story in the Omniverse, his role in the Omniverse, directly reflected within his asset graph, as well as his image, all located there. But if you take a little glance over to the right, you're going to see a knowledge asset right there that has a tag of graph comic. Oh my God, what is that? Let's find out. So the graph comic that's connected to Android Zalax is the Chafu Genesis. This comic details his experience in the Omniverse. This is the actions that he has taken to affect the Omniverse, the stories. Spoiler alert, it gets pretty bad in the end with his sister. Who controls the Omniverse? Well, we all do. Community governed to us means more than votes on a blockchain. Anyone can do that. When you apply the standards of the Omniverse thinking and lore embedding to your creations, you are automatically a part of the Omniverse. This follows the exact same building methodology or perspective of the DKG. The DKG does not control everyone's data. You control your data. You will control your part of this Omniverse. Trackverse is just a fragment of the Marifa Omniverse. That is key to understand. In the same way, Trace Labs is not the DKG, Trackverse is not Marifa. Trackverse is building on Marifa. Trackverse has solved the issue of not having a universally anchoring narrative to support a true lore-based Omniverse. The DKG introduces the proper tooling for building a first-of-its-kind storytelling Omniverse standard. It is my opinion that it is worthless to put stories on the blockchain alone. What is a story that you have not heard? Would your favorite story still be your favorite story if you haven't heard it? Maybe it is, but you haven't heard it. So it's a hammer without a handle. We are constructing solutions that leverage the underlying branches of Marifa, our stories, our artworks, our planets, our lores, as well as your lores. So who and what can benefit from the Omniverse? Clothing brands, car manufacturers, generated AI. In fact, the image above that you saw from Android Zalax is an AI-generated image. See, I saw a future where we have a plethora of generated content without meaning. This devalues creativity. Our future creations should be directly connected with the lores they represent. This can also be used for learning materials, which is something we'll be diving into probably next year at the next DKG conference, following your great presentation. So in conclusion, Marifa is an attempt at making a global storytelling Omniverse. It is not enough to store lores and stories on the blockchain alone. Trackverse is constructing solutions that leverage the underlying branches of the Marifa combined with AI technologies. Trackverse is utilizing lore embedding to build value in digital and physical products. For example, this shirt contains one of the characters from the Omniverse. If you scan this shirt, you can directly view his story. And it updates in real time. Whenever he decides to perform another action, you're going to know that it was done. This brings value to the actual products that we're building today. I just want to say the final part of the Chafu Genesis is live. I launched it this morning. The Graph Hunt will be launched a little bit later on for you US folks, because I know it's quite early over there. And I invite you all to join me in making the Graph Omniverse humanity's greatest story. Before you clap, use the power of stories. Before you clap, special thanks to all of the beautiful Oregon Trail community members all across the world. You should see your name here, Crypto Goku. All of you guys, thank you for showing up every day and making this vision a reality. Thank you.